Hello, my name is Elisa Stoddard. Welcome. This is the masterclass for men in midlife. Today, we are going to learn about how to have a better marriage and to feel appreciated. My promise to you today is that you can feel more appreciated and solid in your marriage. And I'm going to share with you shifts that will help you gain intimacy in your relationship. And I'm going to share the 3 biggest obstacles that keep most men from happiness. So the first shift, here's what you're going to learn. First shift is how to take a look at your beliefs surrounding your marriage so that you can have intimacy the way you want it. And the second shift is how to manage and process your emotions. And the third shift will be how to feel worthy. So let's see if this is you. You bust your rear end and never feel appreciated. You feel like maybe your partner controls the intimacy in your life. Maybe your wife has told you that you are angry a lot. And do you feel like you can never do enough, never measure up? This is common. Do you just want your wife to say that you are doing a good job and acknowledge everything that you do? Yeah. Maybe you and your wife or your partner have been to therapy, but nothing has really helped. You haven't made real progress. There are still significant issues in your marriage. And this might mean that you are thinking about leaving, thinking about what the next options are. And maybe the biggest issue here is that you feel just like a penis and a paycheck and that there isn't a real marriage and partnership. So do you want to know the truth? It's not your fault. The real problem is that you weren't taught where appreciation actually comes from. And so the places in which you're looking aren't very fulfilling. And so then the marriage is struggling. So why should you listen to me? Well, I'm a certified life coach, and I specialize in working with men and women actually who feel desperate and hopeless in their marriages and in their lives. And the truth is, I have been that nagging wife, so I know this firsthand. So here's the thing. You are at a turning point where you've got 2 choices. You can accept that this is as good as it gets and just decide this is what it's going to be, so I might as well just survive and get through it. Or you can challenge what are, in essence, limiting beliefs, and you can reimagine your life so that you can have the relationship and the success in your professional life that you were meant to have. These things all spill over. So I know why you feel this way and how you got here. Maybe some of these things sound familiar to you, that you do everything and it's never enough, that you wonder why people don't appreciate you, especially your wife, your kids, that you rarely do anything for yourself and that just feels like burnout, or you are a workaholic or a hobbyaholic and you're working a lot and doing things to just get out of the house, and both of those are causing problems with your relationships. Maybe you do this, you do way too much and then you get really angry that nobody's noticing or that you have to do it all. And you wish that your wife would just notice how much you are busting your rear to have a nice life for you and your family. You want more connection with your wife, you definitely want more sex, and you feel like maybe your marriage is rocky. So here's the other thing. You feel like someone should pat you on the back. Your wife should be acknowledging you. Yeah. And then you resign to just tell yourself to be happy with what you have. And that doesn't feel very good. So this is you before you feel like you're living in a pressure cooker. I hear a lot of people say that they want a real marriage and not a roommate. And so after, what's available to you is to finally figure out how to feel appreciated and have the kind of intimacy that you really do want in your marriage. So what is possible for you? You can discover how to have a really great, fulfilling marriage. You can learn how to feel appreciated, and you can stop worrying about not being able to do it all. You can Learn how to feel worthy. You can learn how to handle conflict. So that is the not blowing up and then feeling really guilty about having blown up and not losing it. And then you can let go of trying to be and have a perfect life, making enough money, looking the way that the community is expecting. Those things are available to you after coaching. So what are my 3 biggest shifts? Well, they are around relationships, emotions, and worth. And the things I'm going to share with you today, they are shifts you must make. If you are going to create the kind of marriage that you want, you have to make these shifts. And you can do it with all the frustration and guilt and things that have been where the cycle just repeats and things get better for a minute and then they go back and they're not good and the same old fights erupt. So are you ready to get started? So shift number 1 around relationships. It is that questioning what you believe about your marriage so that you can have the intimacy that you want. Maybe the biggest obstacles are that your marriage really is quite rocky and unfulfilling, and that you don't know how to feel more satisfied. You keep getting in the same patterns and it never gets better long term. You actually don't actually feel better. It just sort of feels like a Band-Aid. You don't know how to have a strong connection with your wife. And so you believe that she holds the key to your happiness and sex and intimacy. And that's just frustrating. You don't do the things that you want. You don't have outlets and then you feel trapped. Or this is another common one, that when you do things you want, you get a lot of criticism about not helping out. And that feels trapped too. So you feel really strongly that you do so much, you can't even do more for your family. And then you resent all the responsibility that both you've put on yourself, that your wife expects, that your community expects. And you haven't explored the reasons why you feel like a penis and a paycheck in the first place. And those are really important things to know. Your whole life, you've been taught to lead and provide, and that is a ton of pressure. But one thing that it does that most people don't understand is that it really gets in the way of you having true connection in your relationships. So the problem is that you're blaming all the wrong things for your unhappiness. You feel like you do so much and you aren't appreciated, and you just wish somebody would pat you on the back. They would just notice. And you aren't fulfilled, and maybe in lots of places, maybe beyond your marriage, maybe in your relationship with your parents or siblings or your kids or your work relationships. And then you just think, oh gosh, if this is as good as it gets, I have to get out of here. But nobody really talks about the role of true intimacy, and they just talk about sex, and they think that sex will solve everything. And that is a problem. And that is faulty thinking. You don't know how to ask for what you really want without starting a fight. So then maybe you just stay silent and then eruptions happen. And what you do know is that your needs are not being met. So here's a big takeaway for you on this point, that learning how to reimagine your marriage allows you to make intentional choices so that you can have the kind of marriage and relationship that you want. You have way more options than you think are possible. And discovering what is really getting in the way of sex will help you experience the kind of intimacy that you really crave. You can gain all the necessary tools to then decide if you want to stay where you are, stay in your marriage. And if you do stay, you can have a more fulfilling marriage than you think is possible, than you've experienced up till now. So here is a client success story. This is by M. Drew. Elisa is a genius, bullshit slayer. She never, not once, believed the stories I was using to make myself miserable. She witnesses my problems from the up on the mountain perspective and then guides me up there with her. If you come expecting to have your victimhood validated, you will be disappointed. That is true. She courageously unveils truth without even a hint of shaming. She is a safe place to be vulnerable and explore the monsters in your mind. Hire her. Let's move to shift number 2 around emotions. Learn how to get off that emotional roller coaster that pushes you away from those that you love. Here are the obstacles. No one ever taught you how to effectively manage your emotions. Men are not taught about emotions. In fact, you are taught the exact opposite, to hide them. You're unaware of what is really at the core of your emotions and then why you react. And that is vital to know how to get out of this cycle. You default to strong emotions to get what you want or to shut down difficult conversations. Maybe you have done that to just shut things off to avoid having to feel something uncomfortable, and you think that your wife makes you react, or your kids make you react, or your boss makes you react. You're a workaholic, or you go to the gym, or you pick a time-consuming hobby. Are there Spartan fans out there, anybody, or triathlon people, marathon runners? Yeah, well, sometimes people do this to avoid the real reasons why you don't want to go home, and that's really important. Knowing that will help improve your relationship. And you give in maybe, and then you resent and you just blow up and then shut up because it's way easier. But then the guilt and shame around the eruption are present, and you still don't have the kind of relationship you want even after that exchange. And you don't actually know how to connect with yourself to actually see what's going on when those kinds of things are occurring. So it is a struggle to grow out of your identity of the husband and father and provider that has been a central tenet of what you've been taught and how you're supposed to provide and be. And that needs some looking at. So the problem is that you just don't feel happy anymore. Maybe things were better lots of years ago, or before kids, or before big stressors. And that because you're not aware of your emotions, you're not aware that your thoughts create the emotions that you're having. And those emotions and reactions are just below the surface, and they might boil up at any time, and you know it and you feel it. And so do other people. Your wife and your kids and even your coworkers can feel that. And you don't want to seem weak or give up control, for sure. Understand that that is a community kind of feeling. It's a guideline and the way men are conditioned and socialized. It's not your fault. And because of the way you think, you react to avoid the feelings that are really boiling up underneath. We got to get to the bottom of that. You will feel so much better when you understand that. You feel like you kill yourself to provide, and it's never enough. I've had people say that they just kept earning and earning and earning more, and that they were not appreciated by their wife. It was never enough. They always wanted more expensive homes or clothing or money to spend or trips or cars. So you feel a ton of pressure to be a really good husband and father. And then you worry also that you're going to mess things up, that you're screwing things up for your kids, that you're not present enough, which in a lot of cases, if you're gone a lot, you aren't. And then another dynamic is that you live in the past, which actually creates a future that you don't even want. You're thinking about when things were better, and thinking that if it could just get back there, it would be better. And the truth is, it's never going back there, and it won't feel better, and it won't feel better to keep thinking that it will. So the takeaway for you here is that you can feel a lot more just even-tempered and leading in a way where you have the connection, but you don't have the guilt and the shame if you do blow up. Blow-ups happen. But if you understand what's behind some of the ways you react, then the guilt and shame don't have to follow you. You can learn how to not get so triggered, can learn how to stop avoiding some things, and you can create what you really want. If you connect with your wife and your kids and your friends, and you have more fulfilling relationships than you ever thought possible, that will feel like a really great life. And that's available to you. You can connect with yourself and feel in control of your life. All of these things are possible. Here's another client success story. This is from RK. Coaching from Elisa was goal-oriented with easily applicable concepts, perfect for addressing those issues that have been dragging you down for a long time. We're going to move on to shift number 3. This is around worth. This is a huge thing. This is a huge concept that weighs on people. So I'm going to teach you how to discover how to feel deserving, and that will trickle out to helping you at home and at work, in your relationships, in lots of places. Here are the obstacles despite all the success you have, you still feel like a failure, or you feel like a fraud, or maybe even both. And you're looking for other people to validate you. And then when they do, it's not very fulfilling. That's an interesting dynamic. You push yourself and you push yourself and hoping that that outward success will prove your worth. And yet it never does. No matter what you do, you still maybe feel like that imposter. So you beat yourself up because you weren't successful as you'd hoped. Perhaps that's an obstacle for you, or that you resent your wife and your kids simply because they just don't appreciate you in the way you think you deserve. And it can be really challenging to have so much pressure to provide. It is a really interesting dynamic that keeps you from what you really want. So learning how to feel good enough requires that you learn some new skills, that you employ some new tactics that will help everywhere. I have clients say all the time that people are like, what's up with you? You're happier, which is a really nice outcome, and one that I'm sure you can agree would feel really good. The problem is you don't know where your worth comes from. You think it is from your job. You think it is from money. You think it is from outward symbols. So you look to others to tell you that you are good enough. You look for external validation. You think that other people can make you feel secure. And those are dynamics that don't serve you. So you resent and you blame others, and you become a victim to maybe your childhood, the way your parents are, your marriage, your job, your standing in the church. And you think maybe that if your parents or your wife or your job changed, that you would just simply feel way better. And so that's why sometimes leaving a marriage or leaving a job look really appealing. And the problem is that you take all of your same issues with you to the next place. Why? Because it has to do with your thinking patterns and some flawed thinking that you aren't even aware of. So you don't even know how to appreciate yourself, which really is key to having these kind of dynamics and these cycles go away. So I want you to know that some takeaways for you are that perfectionism keeps you from what you really want. So learning how to recognize your own worth is an act of courage, and one that will have a lot of relief. You can have what you want most, and that perfect life doesn't even exist. So that is something to question. And that others don't have to appreciate you for you to feel good enough. That feeling good enough is possible right within yourself. Trusting yourself and recognizing your own worth, that's a skill. I will teach you. You can learn it. It will make the biggest difference in your life. But changing your situation won't fix anything unless you change. You will see a lot more productivity at work when you feel balanced in your home life, your work life, your play life, and that feeling worthy, feeling that genuine worth, that's within reach. That would feel so amazing, wouldn't it? Here is a client success story again from AH. I have seen significant growth in my ability to recognize my faulty thinking. I realize that I might not be able to change my circumstances, but I can control my thoughts and therefore change my feelings and actions. I have given myself permission to feel my feelings instead of running from them or ignoring them. Just being more aware of my thoughts and being more intentional helps me cope with hard things and process difficult situations. I am learning to rewrite my stories of my past from a victim mentality to one of empowerment and strength. That would feel amazing, don't you think? So my three biggest shifts again, they're around relationships, managing emotions, and discovering worth. And again, you must make these if you want to create the kind of life and marriage that you really, truly want. Doing what you have been doing, continuing to do what you are doing will get you exactly what you have. And if that is unfulfilling, these shifts are absolutely vital. So what you really want, you want to be appreciated for all you do for your family and the way you provide. You want to be respected. You want more intimacy from your wife, from your partner. You want to decide perhaps if you want to stay in your marriage, and you want to feel good enough. You want to feel worth. So my advantage, well, I understand why shame and guilt and all of this pressure contribute to the things you do and why it isn't working. why you keep doing this hamster wheel, and why you keep getting an outcome that you aren't loving, and why it means you aren't loving your life. I understand that, and I can help. I provide the tools and the support to help you understand how the responsibility of providing keeps you from a full life of connection and intimacy. Now, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying you can just be like, oh, screw it. I don't have to provide. I can just do whatever I want. That's not it. It's about balancing all of that and understanding where the pressure comes from so that you can make some shifts in your thinking so that all of the responsibility that you choose because you want the relationships and you want the things that it provides, they don't become barriers. I'll teach you about all of those missing pieces. I've just shown you that framework that I use to help men overcome relationship problems, frustration, and strong emotions, and not feeling like you'll ever be good enough. If you have listened to how this works, some of these concepts might actually be very foreign to you. And you might think, how do I know if they'll even work? I don't even know about this. What would this even look like? Is she telling the truth? But you have also seen, I've shared with you what's possible. And if you connected with any of those things about what is possible and what you think might be a real impact in your relationships, then I am a really good option for you and hope that you will consider coaching. So you might be wondering how to make these changes on your own. And I totally get it. That's why I have a special invitation for you. Who is ready to hear how? I bet you all are. There is a solution. This work is hard, and you will emerge as a totally different person in a totally different relationship. That's a terrific outcome. So who is this for? Well, this is for people that want to feel appreciated, people that want to strengthen their marriage and or decide if they want to stay, people that want a fulfilling sex life, people that want to feel good enough, people that want to have optimism that the future is going to look a lot better than the last few years have. It's beneficial if you have been told that you're angry a lot of the time. If conversations with your wife easily turn into arguments, it's for you if you feel like you've given everything and it's never enough. This is for you if you're a workaholic or a hobbyaholic. This is for you if you are willing to invest in yourself and in your relationship, both with your partner and yourself. So why now? Well, if you knew how to transform your relationship and your life, would coaching be worth it? Well, I can teach you how to feel appreciated, how to feel optimistic about the future, how to feel in control, and how to feel worthy. Do you really want the last 5 years of your life that haven't been that terrific? Do you really want those things to continue for the next 5? What you'll gain from coaching: a stronger marriage, a stronger relationship. You'll gain intimacy and you'll gain control over your emotions, which will lead you to have the life that you really want. With coaching, you'll go from feeling disappointed in your relationship and other places in your life to excited. You'll feel worthy, and you'll have the intimacy in your marriage that you really, really desire. A joyful, happy relationship is within reach. You just don't know it yet. If you want to feel appreciation, intimacy, worth, and happiness, man, are you ready? Are you ready to make some changes and have this all change for you? Well, I want you to know that a great coach is going to help you think in new ways. What you have been doing isn't working. We have to make some shifts. I'll help you change the way you think, and that will challenge you to step out of some old patterns that simply are not working for you in your house, in your family. I'll help you discover why you're doing it and the real reasons that those things are holding you back, why they're keeping you from the connection that you want. And I'm going to teach you strategies, not just that are going to work while we're working together, strategies that you can use over and over again so that this concept and these outcomes are available to you in lots of different situations. And I'm going to believe in you. I'll be a cheerleader in times when you don't really feel like anybody's got your back. So do you remember at the beginning when I was saying that I'd have a personalized opportunity for you that I mentioned? Well, this is this is where you can get the support you need from me. You need support to discover what it is that you really want and what's holding you back. So I have set aside time for strategy sessions for us to talk about your biggest challenge in your marriage. The call's free. All you need to do is set up a time to schedule a call. All of the work that we are talking about requires support. We can talk about what you're going through, what the challenge is, what would make a big difference, and then how to get there. And then you can start living the life that you really, really love. So why do anything? Well, during the session, we're going to talk about the intimacy that you really crave, the appreciation that you really wish was part of how you got praised. And during the session, we'll see what's possible. And together we'll look at why you're stuck. And we're going to create a plan so that you can have that. Why not invest into this process? It will make the biggest difference in your life. Discover how to make and create the marriage that you want so that it's really, really fulfilling. So I want you to ask yourself, what does it cost you to do nothing? Well, the truth is it costs you a lot. Feeling less than all the time and feeling discouraged and irritated just leads to shame and guilt, and none of us want that. None of us, your wife doesn't want to be the nagging wife either. If the dynamics in your relationship changed, that is what you have on the line here. And if you do nothing, none of those things change. You will stay stuck. You'll constantly, when fights come up, you'll question if you should stay. You'll feel like your marriage is tenuous. You'll never feel in control of your life. You'll continue to feel unworthy. And the worst of it is you're going to live with regret. So who qualifies? Well, this is for you. If you want to feel recognized and rewarded for what you do, you want to feel that appreciation, you want a stronger relationship and better communication, you want somebody that isn't just a roommate, you want a wife, you want more intimacy. And bottom line is it's your choice. It's your choice to feel respected, to have the relationships that you want, to have better communication, to create the kind of intimacy that you really crave. And so I invite you to schedule a call. I'm offering this call to be a service of you first and foremost. And I want you to have the tools that I showed you today and how to implement them so that you can feel appreciated and have the type of relationship that you really, really want. So here's what you need to do. Book the call right now. Even stop this recording and go book. I have a few slots and they're available in the next few days, and consultations book up quickly, so hop on it. Bring your biggest obstacle to the call and we will talk about it. Schedule now. This is how. Go to alisastoddard.com. That is alisastoddard.com/explore-webinar. Do it right now. Spaces fill up and you are going to be really, really happy when things look a lot different, even 6 months from now, even 3 months from now. Those things are available, but you have to take the first step. So schedule a call. Do it on alisastoddard.com/explore-webinar. It's been great to be with you. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. You can re-listen to parts of this recording to kind of catch yourself up on the concepts and familiarize yourself with them. Go ahead and do that at any time. But really, honestly, if you want things to be different and you really want to have that appreciation and feel worthy and have your marriage be so much better, you have to do something. Do it right now. Go to alisastoddard.com/explore-webinar and schedule a time. Thanks, everybody. See you on the call.